So are you around tomorrow at around 2 o'clock by any chance? The pick a time to talk approach. Hi guys, my name's Deepak Shukla, founder at Pearl Sales. We're a sales training and development agency based in the UK as well as the USA and serving clients worldwide. And here today in day number 108 of 119 days of cold calling training, we're here to talk about the pick a time to talk approach. But before we get into it, feel free to click the link in the description below to get access to 17 additional strategies that are not shared in this training. So look, fundamentally, when you are in the midst of setting up an appointment, then it's just important to make it easier for your prospect to go ahead and organize a time with you to talk the next day. And this is a classic mistake I see many salespeople making all the time. That you, for example, would say, well, when is good for you next week? Are you when's a good time for you to tomorrow, or anything like that is bad. Sorry, I paused because I was getting frustrated thinking about the calls that I've heard where I'm like, don't say that. Don't say that to a prospect, okay? Don't say any of those things to a prospect. Instead, you want to say, yeah, amazing, Frank. Are you around? How does what about tomorrow? Tomorrow at 2 o'clock? Does that work for you? Or for example, so amazing. Yeah, organizing a time to chat sounds that'd be fantastic, Sam. What about does 3 o'clock tomorrow work for you? Oh, amazing, amazing, Frank. Well, what about next week, Tuesday morning at 11? How does that work? Next week, Tuesday morning at 11. Does that work with your diary? So, guys, do you see I'm giving different ways of delivering specific times to talk, okay? Specific times to talk. Next Wednesday, that's the 15th. So, Tuesday the 15th morning, 11 a.m. Tuesday at 11 a.m. next week, the 15th. Do you see also, guys, that I'm giving a time a day and I'm repeating it, okay? So that it has time to sink in. I'm repeating it because I am moving the rendezvous, the date forward very quickly in terms of I've gone all the way from cold call to booking in an appointment to follow up, and I'm therefore picking a date and time. So you want to always give someone a time, because otherwise, you know what? If you're saying, when are you free next week? What it gets someone thinking about is everything they need to do next week, all of the commitments they have, all of the other things. Like, oh, you know what? All of a sudden, cognitively in my mind, it just creates a little bit of like noise and overwhelm. And really, what you want to do is you want to reduce the decision making of the person you're talking to on the phone, okay? Which sounds, I mean, it sounds a little bit counterintuitive because you're thinking, well, I want them to decide whether this thing is for me. That is really the only key critical thing. There's two critical things really. You want them to like you and to want to talk more, okay? You want them to like you and you want them to talk more. Outside of that, these are really the only two decisions you want them to make. And then you want to lead the rest of the call, and you can lead it by giving them specifics of a time and day you want to meet. So you can do what about 2 o'clock tomorrow? Are you around? Does that work for you? What about X day, X day? You're just open up a bit more of a chance of losing people, or losing, to be honest with you. And this is the insidious part of it. You can still say, when are you free next week? And they give you a time and day, right? They give you a time, they give you a day. But typically, when someone says, when you say what time next week works for you, if someone typically says, oh, anytime, call me Friday, whenever, that's not always that great, because it means that they have time, and that's typically because they don't have money, and that means that they've got time to talk, but it's not going to be relevant, or they're not going to pin down a specific time, because they're not taking the call seriously. Okay, so there's problems when you leave it broad. Depending upon how the person responds, you'll soon know that it's not a serious person. Whereas serious people want a time and want a day, and they tend to want a time and want a day, and they want it in the diary. Especially if you're calling B2B, B to B to B, basically. B to B, B to B to B, which is you're one business and you're calling another business, and they're in the business of serving other businesses, instead of B to B to C. Okay, and that's where you'll get a bigger level of, I say, unreliability, but they'll still be. It's just more. It's just a bit more natural that in this instance, you're a business calling another business, and their clients are retail customers. That they're going to not be as fixed and to want to diarize stuff or to put stuff into the diary, basically. Whereas these guys will typically want to do that, but in both instances anyway, you just want to give people a time, because of course they can pick an alternative. And the way that you ask is, how about, does X time work for you? What are you, how about X? How about tomorrow at 11? Does tomorrow afternoon, about 3 o'clock? And again, I've just committed a mortal sin. I've said about. There's no abouts. It's always just precise. Where and when you can, these guys will have some of the abouts, but they'll qualify it for you, okay? And they'll qualify what times, but you should never let them lead the time that you're going to be setting up the appointment, because you want to lead when you're going to be talking and offer someone a specific time, and then they can respond in whatever way they respond, and then you can appropriately adjust. But you want to be the one pick a time to talk. You want to be the one picking the time, so then they can give you an alternative, because it just focuses their mind on talking to you, okay? And it's that focus you're also trying to create in the mind of your prospect, that you want them to focus on what you're saying and what the ask is. And it's a simple ask, because often it'll be yes, or it'll be a no, actually, can you do? And they're the outcomes that you're looking for with the pick a time to talk approach.
Remember, we've got 17 gated strategies just waiting for you. All you need to do is bing, subscribe, as well as click the link in the description below to get access to those 17. Get some.